Greetings all, this is Shikha from Technical Cloud Knowledge and I hope you all are doing great. So I'm back with another lecture on Linux and this one is the lecture number 28 of our Linux series. So today we're going to cover the lecture number 28 on the topic of Linux user management. So as you all know that on my previous lecture I have also told you that the Linux would be divided into some stage. Okay, we will cover the Linux in some stages and this part, the Linux user management will come under the third stage. Okay, so for that I would recommend all of you to watch my entire video as this lecture is very important and you will not going to miss any vital information regarding the user management. So do watch the video until the end. So yeah, this one is a part 1 of our Linux management, user management, and we'll cover the part 2 in further lectures. And also today we will going to cover only the theoretical part. The practical part will be upcoming. Okay. So let's begin the lecture first without further any ado. So let's first understand regarding these three terms. What does this mean? Linux user management. The first term, which is Linux, if I talk about the first term, it refers for the name of the kernel. The Linux is the name of the kernel. The second term, which is user. The user is that kind of a person who is used to manipulate files, data, or even the directories under your operating system, and it will perform its operations or tasks. So the user will do its tasks. That's why the user is also being referred here. Now the third term is management. As we all know that in the company too there is a manager. What does the role of the manager? The manager role is to manage all the employees, to manage all the things so that our company will work properly. That's how the user which manage all the tasks and performance. That's why the management word is being here to handle the tasks. So Linux user management, as you all able to know. Now let's move more further in this lecture. Basically, if you do remember that in the industry we have two types of users. The first one is the local user, the second is the global user. If I talk about the local user is such kind of user which is created by us own. We create our own user, that is known as the local user, or we can say the normal user. Or if I talk about the global user, as the name suggests, global means international. Okay, so the global user, it will be created by default. Whenever we log in or install any operating system, by default, a user will be created on its own. So this is the global user. And yeah, one more thing, the global user has some special rights. That's why it is known as the global user. Let's do understand this in a better way regarding the users through the diagram. Suppose I have a server. Okay, I have two servers and I have installed on the first server I have installed the Windows and on the second server I have installed the Linux. So in the server which I have installed the Windows, if you do notice when you install Windows on your server, you will by default get a user which is known as administrator. So administrator is that kind of a user which have some special rights or some special powers. Okay. So in this special power of the user, he or she can do anything. The user, the administrator user can do many things, such as if it wants to create any changes under your operating system, it can do. If he wants to like modify something, it can do. It can install any application, can remove any application, can add on any data, can remove any data. So the whatever be the things he wants to do or perform any task, he can do without any permission of anyone. So this is the administrator user which is known as the global user under Windows. Similarly under Linux too. When we install Linux, while the installation of Linux, by default we get a user called root. This user is known as the administrator user, or we can say the global user. Let me tell you one more thing, the administrator users is also known as the super users. Okay. So similarly, the Linux user also have some special rights or special powers. He can like command, he can execute any commands It can log in through any home directory. It can create any users. It can remove anything. It can add on anything. Can watch any file. Can read any file. So it can do many things. So because this user have some special rights. So I think you are clear with the global user. What is the global user and what kind of the user? Global user have some special right. If we talk about the local user, suppose I am a person called Shikha. Okay. Now I want to create my own user, local account. How would I do that? I will create a user named Shikha. And this user is known as the local user, or should I say the normal user, because it is created by me. And the default user which I will get in Linux is root user. This is known as the administrator or the global user. So I think you are clear with both of them regarding the local user as well as the normal user, global user. Okay, so and yeah, this is very important that you do have an idea or you do know between the differentiate of global user as well as the local user. Okay, so let's move on with the lecture. So as we are able to know regarding the users, now suppose there is a server. Okay, and on this server I am running my application. My application is running. Okay, an application is running on my server which is running continuously 24 to 7. Okay, so we all know, as we all know, that in a company, if we want to run a company, not a single person can run any company. We need multiple law. We need multiple members. We need multiple employees. Number of employees or members we need to run any company so that the company will work properly. Okay. There is not a single person who run the company. Similarly, to run any application, we need many users. We need many employees. Okay. So for that, we all know in the company, if there are number of employees, they all have their ID card too, so that they can do their entry while coming under the company. So they all have their ID card. Similarly, while when we are running any application, the user also gets some ID and password. Okay, and by default, we all know that on our application, we on our server, we only have one user, which is root, and we only have the one ID and password, which is root ID and password. So what happens? Suppose in this application is running by 5 persons. Okay, these 5 person are running this single application. Now we do need to provide some ID and password to all these 5 persons. Okay, now how we will able to provide the ID and password? What we will do, we will provide the same ID and password to all the users. To the first user, we'll provide the root ID and password. To the second, to third, fourth, fifth. To all 5 users, I'm going to provide the same root ID and password. Now, do you think there is a drawback of providing the same ID and password to all the users? Do you think? Similarly, suppose in the company we provide the same ID card to each and every person, to each and every employee, how we can find which user is coming in the company, which is left, and which one is doing their work, which is not doing? How we can check? So similarly, if you do notice that in the Linux, there is a file called log file. Okay, under the log file, we need to check the information regarding the user. Suppose if I want to check which user is working or not, which user is doing their activity at what time, which is done any mistake. So regarding the user's information, I will come under the log file and I will check the output. Okay, so the output which I'm going to give, the output which I will get is up to on the root user. So it will provide me the output like root user is being working, root user has been left, the root user has done a mistake. So now I'm going to confuse that which root user, because I have provided the same ID and password to each and every user, to all the 5%, which one has done a mistake, which one is working. We don't able to get the correct information. So for that, in such type of situation, we do need to provide different local account to each and every user, so that we will able to know which user is currently working, which is not, which doing the mistake, which is not. So all the information we will get then when we will provide the different local account to each user. This is the first reason, because of we are providing the different local accounts. The second reason to provide the different account is that when they all do the troubleshoot on the application, they will hit the application on the same time. Okay, and it will get load. Our application will get loaded and our server gets down. So our application will not work. So in such type of situation, we do need to provide different local accounts, because for the security reason too. Because if they all log in with the root user only, what they will do, they will hit the application together. And what will happen, all have the same ID and password, and if they have the same ID and password, anyone can log in on our server, anyone can log in on our application. Okay, and can anyone can hack our application, and because of that too our server gets down. So because of the security reason too, we need to provide different local accounts. I'm going to coming under the like load option as well. If the application get loaded and our server gets down, what we can do for that, I'm going to cover this part as well. But till now you just need to understand that what happens if we provide the same ID and password to each and every user. So it is not good for the security purpose as well, because the root ID password is only given to such kind of a person who is trustable, who is honest, loyal, or who is able to manage all the things and responsible, like the user's root user ID and password would be provided to such kind of a person who is responsible. Okay, so we can't provide any of the user. So that's why we need to provide local accounts to each and every user. Suppose I have provided local account to each and every user. Suppose the first user I have provided the account and the ID or password for the first user called Sarah. Okay, so the Sarah first one, suppose the first user is the Sarah. Okay, and I have provided the wait. I have provided the output to login and ID to Sarah. Similarly, I'm going to provide all the different ID and password to each users. The first one is the Sarah user. Let's take the other user would be Bunny. Okay. The third user would be Shikha. The fourth user would be Sharma. And let's the fifth user would be Cloud. Okay, so that's how I have provided each user's different ID and password. Okay, now they will log in with different ID and password. No one has the root ID and password. Now they can work very properly, they can work softly, smoothly. Each and every users have different tasks. If they do any mistake, if they are working or not, I can check by logging into the log files. Okay, so that's how we'll able to check the output. Now still the problem is not solved, still the issue we will face regarding the application, because we all able to know there is only single application, and if only on and if the load is getting high on the single application on this single server, our application will get off, our server will get down, and our application will not work properly. So for that we need to set up multiple server. Suppose if we are setting up 500 server for our application. Okay, so for 500 server we also need 500 users too. So we will create all these 5 users account to each and every server. But if we do it manually, then it will take a lot of time. Suppose in the 500 servers, which any user have created any mistake. Suppose Cloud user has created any mistake and the Sara user needs to check it. So first Sara user needs to create the account, create its account on that specific server, and then she can log in it. Okay, so in such type of situation, what we can do, we need to create our account on each and every server, on 500 server together manually. So it will take a lot of time. Most of the people also say that we can do that by scripting as well, but if you do that by, if you do create your account by scripting too, it will also consume a lot of time. It will not going to do in within a 1 minute. It will also going to take a lot of time. So in such type of situation, it is also referred that you need to use the option, or you need to use the tool called centralized user management. So what we will going to use, we will going to use the automation tool centralized user management. As the name suggests, centralized means in a specific, in a single location where all the data has been stored in a single location. User, as we are able to know multiple users. Management, how we can manage them. So by using the tool of centralized user management, what we will do, basically I have written the wrong spelling of management, doesn't matter. Okay, so what we will going to do, we will mount all these together. We will mount all the server in a single location, and all the users will be mounted to this single location, so all the user can log in or create their account in a one go in all the servers. So that's how we use the centralized user management. Let's understand this in a better way. Suppose there are servers, 500 servers. Okay, we have created a single platform for the centralized location. We will mount all these server to this single location. Okay, now all the server has been mounted with this single location. Now what will happen, we will also map our all users with this single location too. So when they all are connected with each other, so we don't need to create account manually. It will automatically done by the automation tool. Okay, so that's why we are using centralized location management. It will provide a single location platform where we will mount each and everything together, and whole the process will work smoothly. We don't need to create single account on a single server manually. Now when we do such kind of situation, it will consume less time. Okay, so that's how we will use a centralized user management. So I hope you are clear with this as well, centralized user management. But we do not need to learn, or we do not need to understand this topic right now in depth more. I'm just going to give you an overview why we are using centralized user management here. We do need to learn regarding the user management right now. Okay, so let's come to our main topic, which is Linux user management. Okay, so I hope you are clear with that much. Now let's move to our Linux user management. So basically what happens in the user management, when you come under Linux there are three type of users. The first one is your super user, the second one is your system user, and the third one is your normal user. Now let's understand all the users in better way. First is your super user, second is your system user, the third one is your normal user. So as I've already shared with you, as I've already told you that, tell you that what are the referring for the, what are all the users are referring, like super user, what does the super user refer, what is the normal user, just the system user has been left. So let's understand this again. The super user, is that kind of a user who has special powers. Okay, who can do many things. That's why the name is referred to super user. So in Linux the super user is called root user. So the super user is the root user in Linux, root. Okay, so the user is such kind of an utility in the Linux or the operating system that manipulate files, or data and perform its operation or the task. Okay, so the super user is the root user. The system user is such kind of a user who runs the system, who starts the system. That's why it is known as the system user. Suppose I am configuring any service called Apache service. So to start this service, there is a system user for the specific service of Apache. This system user will refer to HTTPD system user, Apache system user. If I am configuring FTP service, so for that there is another user which is the FTP system user. So that's how the system user is being divided for different for various services or for various purpose. Okay, so system user is such kind of a person who runs the system. Okay, normal user is such kind of a user who we create on our own. It is also known as local user. Suppose I am the local user, I am creating any user on my name. So me, Shikha is the normal user. Okay, so that's how the Linux has three users: super user, system user, and the normal user. I think you are clear with all three users. Now let's move on. Basically, what happens? We are clear with that much. So when we create any user under Linux, so they will get some user identifications number. Okay, so this known as ID. So they will get some identifications like ID. So a user will get ID so that we will able to know this user by the number. As we all know, in Linux we do not the computer do not know the alphabets. Okay, this is human readable. That's why it is showing in alphabets so that we can read that. We can't read the scripting form right now. We can't read the things, whatever be the things written in the numbers. So that's why all these, the things, the words is come under human readable form, which is in alphabets. But in Linux will learn, Linux will we can say like Linux will read all these things in number. So that's why the users will get some UID, which is user ID. So what is the user ID is, for the root there is the user ID of 0. Okay, so the root user will get the user ID 0. So just remember, whichever the user is getting 0 ID is the root user. So the system user will get the UID to 1 to 999. So the system user will get the UID 1 to 999. Normal user will get the UID 1000 to 60,000. Okay, so this are the numbers. That's how the numbers is being UID being provided to each and every user. Now we are clear with their user ID. They will also get something more. They will also get their group ID so that we can refer from which group these users are belong. Okay, now we all know that the root users, all the information for the root user, all the root user belong to the root group. Okay, system user will belong to the system user group. Normal user will belong to the normal user group. So they also get some GID, which is known as group ID. So the group ID for root user would be 0. Similarly, similarly like their UID, they have the same GID as like their UID. So the GID of root user is UID 0. GID of system user is 12999, and the GID for the normal user is 1000 to 60,000. Okay, so I hope you are clear with that much. What is the GID, what's the UID, and how does they provide to each and every user. So this is the main thing. Now regarding of their UID, GID and the usernames, they also get their home directory from which the users belongs to. So their home directory. So the root home directory would be root. We all know that the root home directory would come under the forward slash. Okay, I'm going to tell you by graphically as well. System user, most of the people say that the system user doesn't get any home directory. It is not true. It also gets some root home directory. We can even change it. Okay, so system user also gets some home directory, and the normal user home directory would become under forward slash. There is a directory called home, and under home directory there is usernames directory, which is known as its home directory. Suppose I am the username Shikha, I am the user called Shikha, a normal user called Shikha, and under home directory there is a directory of username Shikha. So this one is your home directory. So what will happen under the home directory, which is come under forward slash home directory, there is a usernames directory, which is also known as Shikha. So this is the main home directory of the Shikha user. Okay. So that's how the all three users will also get some home directory. They also get some shell. Okay, they also get some shell from where they are belongs to, like the main specific path from they belongs to, their main specific path, main location is their shell. Now let's come to the log files, as we are able to study, as we are able to also know regarding the, wait, let me create another page as well. So till now we are able to understand. As I've already shared you that all the information regarding the users will save under the log files. Let's come under some log files. We all know that there is a log file called password file, which is come under etc directory. There is a password file. Under this file, all the information of both the user, even if it is the normal user, even if it is the root user, all the information of both the user will be saved under the password file. So such as like this file, password file, there are multiple files to read the information regarding the users. Let me tell you like what are these files. Let's understand the log files too. Okay. So first, all these files are come under etc directory, and the etc directory come under forward slash. So first file which is used to know the information regarding the users is the password file. Second file is shadow file. Third file we have group file. Fourth file we have G shadow file. Fifth file we have login defs file .defs file. Sixth file we have, this file is come under a directory called default. Okay, and under this directory there is a file called user-add. So user-add file is used to know the information regarding the users. Okay, whatever the user you will add. So it will provide you the data under in a configuration format. And the last file which is used to know the information is the scale. So basically scale file is such type of, you can't say that this file is used for the information of the user. Basically this file is such kind of file. Suppose if you are creating anything, you are the content which is available under scale file will also become under your main home directory. So whatever be the information will come under scale file will also save the same information under your main home directory of the user. So the basic purpose of scale file is that. Right now I'm just going to provide you an overview of all these files. Okay, as of today's lecture is basically based on the theoretical part. Okay, so let's first understand regarding the password file. Let's open your terminal. See, as you can see here as well, the main page for the user selection is the only the normal users. Root user has been hide. We need to write first the username because of the security reason. That's why we can't provide the same ID and password to each and everyone. Okay, because of the security purpose. Open your terminal. So we all know to read any file we need to use a command called cat command. So let's run cat command under etc directory the file password. I want to check the content for this file. So as you are able to know that the output will get under password file like that. Suppose let's understand the fields come under password file for each and everything. So first let's grab the command. Let's grab the, we are using the grab command too so that we can only get the root output. Okay, so as you can see in the password file we will able to get the output in 7 fields. Let's understand regarding these fields one by one separately. Okay, so the first field is refer for the username, whatever be the user through which you are logging the file or through which you are logging the terminal. The first is that your username root. Okay, X, this X word, this character is being shown that your file password is being saved under the etc shadow file. So your file, wherever does X word is coming in your password file, it is being referred that your password of this file would be saved under the shadow file. Okay. Third field is refer for the UID of the user. As we all know, root will get 0 UID. That's why it is here referring for the 0. Fourth is for the GID, the group ID. So the root group ID is also 0 as I've already tell you. So this is also showing here 0. The fifth field is refer for the comment field. Now let's understand what does I mean by the comment option. Suppose I am the local user Shikha. My username is Shikha. Okay. Now I want to give some comment to my to the Shikha user. I want to say that the Shikha user is the trainer. So I want to give the comment trainer. So here you will write the trainer. Under the comment you can write everything. You can write anything what you want to, like you can write the phone number, address, name of the user, the position, the department, the designation, anything. Okay. So the comment is up to you, like the feedback or the comment, giving comments to others. Okay, sixth field is the home directory of the user. As we all know, root home directory is the root directory. Last field is the shell, from which is the absolute path of the user. So the root basic absolute path is under / there is a directory called bin, and under the bin directory there is a bash file. Okay, so that's how the main absolute path of root is the bin under bash. Okay, so this is the shell. So these are the 7 fields under password file. Now let's move to our another file, which is shadow file. Let's grab root. So as you can see, under shadow file we will able to get such kind of output. Basically, as I already tell you that X word, the X character which is come under the password file is being referred to the password is being saved under the shadow file. Okay, so under the shadow file it is refer for the 9 fields. The first field is for the username. As you can see, root, the username. Second field, till this, after semicolon to the next semicolon, till this is the password which is written in the encrypted form. We will learn like we will understand how does the password is being written in the encrypted format. We will understand this in the further lectures. Till now just understand this is the password which is written in the encrypted format. Okay, because if I do more further, you will able, you don't know, need to go till now in that much further way, because you will get confused, that's why. Okay, so the password being referred in the encrypted format. After the third field to the ninth field, all are referring here for the password policies. Under the password policies, like many things come, like the minimum age of your password, maximum age of your password, expiry date of your password, inactive mode or not. If you want to inactive your account for 1 day or for many days, you can do that as. So mostly the configuration regarding the password policies all come under third field to ninth field under the shadow file. So this is the shadow file. Okay, now let's move to our next file, which is our group file. So this is the group file. Basically the group file fields are refer here. The content under the group file would be like that. First field is refer for your main username from which you are logging the file. The second is your password, as here x is also here is also coming. So here x character is referring the password which is pointed, it is a password pointer which is pointed to the another file which is g shadow, which means the password of this user would be stored under another file called g shadow file. Similarly, like password file, password is stored under shadow file. So group file password would be stored under G shadow file. Okay. The third is uh, the UID of the username, root UID, and the fourth field is refer for the members of the list. Whatever be the members available under the group file, all the list of the members would come under group file. We will discuss the group file in more depth way in further lectures. Till now, just understand that much. I'm just going to give you only the overview of all the files. Okay. Now we do have our next file, which is G shadow file. Okay. So in the G shadow file, we will able to get 4 field of output. First field is refer for the username, which is root. Second field is refer for the password pointer. Okay, the password. Here in the second field, the password is written in the encrypted format, such like the shadow file. The third field refer for the admin, group admin, who is the admin of the group. Fourth field is refer for the members of the group, like list of there would be a list of the members, whatever be the members is available under the group, there would be a list. So this is the main 4 field of content, 4 fields refer under the G shadow file. Okay, now we have our next file, which is etc login def.dfs. Okay, so under DFS file, you will get the output in configuration format. So all these are written, all these are having in the configuration, all have been configured. So you will get the output in many, like all the output you will get. Here are the password policies also written, as you can see. UID minimum age, maximum age, system UID minimum age, group ID. Okay, so that's how you will get the output in configuration format. And one more thing, in the interview, interviewer may ask to you the question that suppose what happens, the UID which the normal user is getting is just till the 60,000, or should we can increase it, or suppose I am the normal user, I get the UID 50,000 or 60,000, can I change it? So you need to say yes, you can change it, because it is by default. Even if the by defaulted home directory we will get, we can change it as well. So whatever be the by defaulted things you are getting while installing the Linux, you will change it. Okay, you can change it by running or executing some commands. So it is not specified, you can change it as well. Okay, so this is the thing which we get, this is the output which we get under dfs file. It is in configuration format. Okay, now we have our next field, which is next file, which is under default directory. There is a file called user add. Okay, So this file is also have the output in the configuration format. As you can see, group equal to 100. Now most of you I think wants to know group ID which is in 100 number. What does it refer? Maybe you are thinking like word to 999, it is come under this. No, it is not like that. Basically, those user will get 100 UID, group ID. Those users will get who don't want to come under any group, who don't want to belong from any group. Suppose I am the user called Sharma. Suppose let's take me as a user called Sharma. Okay. And I don't want to come under any group. I don't want to be a part of any group. I don't want any family. So Sharma user will get the UID equals to 100. So 100 UID those users will get who doesn't belong to any family, who doesn't belongs to any group. Okay. Home, it's the home directory of the user. Inactive. Now let's understand what does the inactive word is referring here. So the inactive word is such kind of the word when the user's account is locked for 1 day. Here is written 1, so it is referring here user's account will locked for 1 day. That's why here is referring inactive. If you write here 5, so user's account will be inactive for 5 days, locked for 5 days. Okay, if you write it say 0, so it will not lock. Okay, it will not inactive. Expire, you can mention the date when you want to expire the user's account. Shell, as I have already told you regarding the shell is the main absolute path of the user from which the user is right now came from. Okay, the we all know na, like we refer what's the main address from which city or the town you belongs to, your main birth address. Okay, your birth hometown or the village or would be anything state. So this is like the home, main home, birth home of the user. Scale is like I'm going to tell you regarding the scale directory in further minutes, in few minutes. So till now, just left this one. Create mails pool. Let's understand the create mails pool. Now there is a directory called under the where there is a directory called spool mail. Now let's come under this. Do the ls. So as you can see, here are two things are referring, RPC and the Sharma. Sharma is the user which has been created as a normal user. Basically, where mul spell directory is such kind of a directory in which all the mails is being received. Suppose I am the normal user Sharma, okay, and my users file would be created under this directory where spool mail, and this file will receive the mails. Whatever be the mails would be provided to the Sharma user will come under this file. So this file is being referred for the mail receiving file. You can, if you write here no, so it will not uh, receive any mails. Okay, so this is basically for the mail receiving, nothing else. Now let's come our next and the last file, which is scale. We need to come under this directory. This is a directory, not the file. Okay, do the ls. Right now nothing is available under scale. Suppose you are copy paste. Suppose I'm copy pasting a file called password. Okay, in this scale directory. Now what happens? Do ls. As a file, password file is being under the scale directory. Now whatever be the normal user you have created, it will save that file under your home directory. Like whatever be the content under scale file, scale directory would be saved under the your home directory of the normal user. Suppose I'm also creating a user. Let's come under the first scale directory again. Okay, let's do the ls. Now let's create a user called Shikha. Okay, now let's come to the Shikha. Let's log in the terminal with the Shikha user. Do ls right now. See, when I haven't run anything else, I just executed the ls command. Right now the available, if I remove the, suppose I remove the file password from the scale directory, nothing will be shown in my account Shikha. Okay. Let's do it as well. But when you open your scale directory and when you again copy the password file under your scale directory, the content also available would also get available under the Shikha home directory. Let's do it as well, so you will get the understanding of what I'm talking about. Let's come under the scale directory, do the ls. Right now password file is being here. Delete it from here. Okay, you are removing it from the normal user. Your normal user can't have some special permission. We need to log in with the root user. Then we can do so. su-root. And be remember, when you log in with the root, when you moving from a local user to the root user, it will ask for the password. But when you move from root user to any of the local user, it will not ask for any password. Okay. So now what you will do, wait. Okay, so now from we will going to remove the file. Let's come under the scale directory, cd etc scale. Okay, now done ls command. Now here you will going to remove this scale directory. Sorry, by mistaken I have written here scale ls to the ls. Going to remove the password file from here. So now do the ls command. As the password file has been removed, now you will log into your Shikha user. Now done ls command. Wait. So basically what happens when you run the scale command, like whenever whatever the content available under the scale directory, if you have first login it, now from let's delete it from here as well, so that we will able to get the output for the better understanding. As it doesn't deleted the file, because whatever be the content before referring under the scale file, it has been saved it under, so that's why it deleted from the scale directory, but it doesn't been deleted from our main users. Okay, main user account. Now let's again come under the root directory. Now from here, if we add anything else to the scale directory, okay, if we add anything else to the scale directory, as you can see, nothing. If we add anything else to the scale directory, it will again show in our main home login account, which is the Shikha user, main normal user account. Okay, so it will automatically save the content under the normal user account too. Let's do it as well. Suppose I'm copying the content of shadow file. Okay, whatever the content is available under shadow file, copy under the scale directory. See, now let's come under your normal user account, which is Shikha. Now done ls. Wait. Exit from here first. Come under here, you need to first, let's create another account called Jyoti. Okay. Now when you check it, by login with the Jyoti account, now done ls command. So see, shadow file is being saved. So what happens when you create anything in the scale file, when you copy anything content, whatever be the content under available under scale file, and when you create any user under the scale directory, it will automatically save the content under your the account, under the account, whatever the account you would create. Okay, so such as you can see, I have copied the shadow file under the scale directory, and I have also created another account Jyoti. Okay, I have also created another user Jyoti under the scale directory. So whatever be the content available under the scale directory, it is also saved under the Jyoti home directory. So this is the basic usage of scale directory. We will going to cover all these in a better format or in a better in depth in our further lecture. Till now, I think you are able to understand that much. Okay, so that's how we will going to do. So I hope this lecture is very helpful to you all, and this is the very important lecture of user management. Keep learning and keep watching our channel Technical Cloud Knowledge for more updates on Linux. Thanks for watching.